On this episode of This Week in the NPSL, and then there was one. Miami United FC making history playing Orlando City SC in the US Open Cup. We will tell you how the first ever NPSL MLS matchup turned out. Meanwhile, we check out a new member of the NPSL who has wasted no time in making their mark on the league. Laredo Heat SC looking to stay unbeaten against another new squad in FC Brownsville. Another new team is FC Columbus, and they were looking for their second win against the best in the Great Lakes in AFC Ann Arbor. And we look in on one of the top teams in the league as New York Cosmos B looks to go 5-0 against Rhode Island Reds. Plus, we go back to South Florida for our Player of the Week. It's all next on This Week in the NPSL. Welcome to This Week in the NPSL. I'm your host, Paul Boron, out of the studio and on the road in Knoxville, Tennessee, home of Emerald Force SC. It's been a rough go thus far this season for the Force. 1-6-0 to start the season as they hosted the New Orleans Jesters this week. We will have highlights of that next week. Now, the Force were an underdog against the Jesters, much like another team in our league, Miami United FC, as they were an underdog taking on an MLS team in Orlando SC in the US Open Cup. Let's check out how they did. Second minute, Asenat Peterson comes out trying to clear, but his clearance is left of Sasha Question, who just chips it over the net. 7th minute, Shelton Shamar tries a cross that is more like a shot, and Earl Edwards of Orlando stretches himself out to make the save. During the rebound, David Ochoa is dropped by PC in the penalty area, but no call awarded. 12th minute, Josu Coleman tries the cross for Stefano Pino, but Elisma Pierre makes a diving save. 18th minute, chance for Question. Combining in quick passes, but PC serves a nice ball to Pino. His shot goes over the net. More from the first half. PC beats a Miami United player to the ball and has a shot from outside the box, but it goes high. 37th minute and the breakthrough for Orlando City, starting with Jonathan Spector, who passes it to Question. Then Coleman, who opens up the play to RJ Allen, and his cross is perfectly set up for Pino, who easily scores 1-0 Orlando. Second half, 53rd minute, a nice play by the visitors in the left with Mohamed El Munir and Question playing a two-man game. Question tees off Pino, who lets it go for Dylan Powers, who gathers it and shoots for the 2-0 lead for the MLS squad. And then some insurance for Orlando as Miami United tries to play the ball from the back. Nicholas Grobsov leaves his back pass short. Question steals it, then perfectly tees PC to beat Peterson for the commanding 3-0 lead. Big mistake for Miami, but a great run for Miami United FC as they end up falling to Orlando City in the 4th round of the US Open Cup.
I mean, that was a tough match. We already know it was going to be like that because we play against a team MLS. It's going to be very, very tough for us. But we did good, but that's a couple things missing. I think we're going to go back and work for more. We think we're going to play against next year. But that was a good experience.
It was an incredible night, something that we will never forget. The guys, the team, everything. Of course, you know, we know that you know, we get an MLS team, and it was not easy. Physically, they were much better than us, but we have to keep working like that and to keep doing. You know, we're in the right direction, and we're very happy and proud to get to this point. Maybe, you know, next year we'll go even further.
Time now to dive into our league highlights, and we start in the Lone Star Conference, where quite a story is developing as one of our new members, Laredo Heat SC, has started the season red hot. They're scoring goals and they're keeping opponents off the scoreboard. They look to stay undefeated as they took on another new member in FC Brownsville. Following a road trip that saw 14 hours of driving between games, the Heat returned home Wednesday night, and they got off to a quick start. Opening minutes, Zayed Fars with his second goal in the NPSL. Then, in the 21st minute, Mimo Diaz gets his third goal of the season. Just 10 minutes later, it's Juan Lozoya who nets the score and cuts the Brownsville deficit to 2-1 heading to the break. Second half now, Gabriel Rodriguez getting his second goal in the NPSL. And then Rafa Montalbes, the Laredo striker, added the cherry on top for the home team with a score from the left side of the pitch in the 86th minute as Laredo wins. We head to North Carolina, Chattanooga FC and Asheville City Soccer Club in the second leg of the Blue Ridge Derby. Teams played a 1-1 draw in Chattanooga, and now we'll settle who wins the beer barrel on aggregate. CFC gets on the board first. Charlie Clark screens off the defender and delivers a nice back heel to Joe Acosta, who makes a nice cross for the finish by Felipe Oliveira. Then it is Costa with a deep run into the corner, cross to Juan Hernandez to Felipe Oliveira, who connects with Clark for the Derby winning goal. Charlie Clark has been on fire for CFC, and they win it over Asheville City. New Orleans Jesters welcoming Georgia to the Crescent City Saturday night, and the home side gets on the board first in the 27th minute. A terrific move and laser to the far post by Hisham Kasamu. Georgia would answer just before the half when New Orleans fails to clear the ball, and Isaac Promise makes no mistake to level the match at 1. But the Jesters get the lead back just after halftime when a deflected ball finds Mason Walsh, and he finds the back of the net. And then in the 88th, as pretty a goal as you'll see this season. Terrific give and go between Ollie Roberts and Tom Pierce. Pierce finishes it for his 6th of the year, and New Orleans wins 3-1. And finally, to the hottest team in the heartland, FC Wichita and Ozark FC, 68th minute. Andres Ochoa sends a long ball to Frank Tayo, and a Ozark FC defender misplays it, so it lands on the foot of Tayo, and he puts it in the back of the net for the only goal of the match. It's Tayo's 5th goal of the season, the Heartland Conference scoring leader, and FC Wichita wins 1-0. Jacksonville Armada FC's win moves them to the top of the Sunshine, but as you can see, they have not played as many matches as the two Miami teams behind them. FC Wichita just rolling along, now at 5-0, and Tulsa Athletics' loss drops them a little off the pace. Chattanooga and New Orleans both win and sit atop the Southeast, with defending champ Nashville FC right there. And in the Lone Star, Laredo is 4-0, but Fort Worth has 4 wins as well, as they get a win against Tyler FC. Now when we return, we're off to the Northeast, where New York Cosmos B looks to remain unbeaten, while Greater Lowell looks to keep pace.
Keep up to date on the NPSL with scores, stats, schedules, and exclusive content on the brand new NPSL.com. Visit NPSL.com to browse our dedicated ticket platform, read up on team news from around the country, and view the latest episode of This Week in the NPSL.
Back in Knoxville, host to the 1982 World's Fair, and the Sun Sphere in downtown Knoxville commemorates that event. Now, the World's Fair was in New York City in 1939. The original Cosmos debuted in 1985. The 2018 NPSL version, well, they're world beaters right now as they look to start the season 5-0. The scoring began after a 5th-minute go-for-broke effort by goalkeeper Tony Valeri, led to a Cosmos penalty kick, which was converted by Danny Zitella. Cosmos doubled their lead when an open Biletti Bardic was allowed to collect a centering pass and drop it to his right foot and put it away from 6 yards out. The Cosmos have it rolling as they beat Rhode Island Reds. FC Monmouth and Hershey FC, and the opening goal scored by FC Monmouth's Julian Valero. But Hershey FC would answer on a goal by Morschbarker, but then Monmouth would take the lead for good. Thomas Judge getting the goal. Otherwise, some good chances and saves for both sides, but a 2-1 win for FC Monmouth. Greater Lowell NPSL FC and TSF Academy, a well-worked ball from Greater Lowell was topped off by a fine finish under pressure by the Brazilian Jonata Batista, assisted by Daniel Munch. Jonata nets his first goal of the 2018 season, while Munch, the assist machine, it's business as usual. Then the ace number 9 of the home team skies his effort from the penalty spot, but no worries because DeMar Campion-Hines artfully buries his chance after a mishap from the visiting defense, and then the traveling team launched an onslaught in the dying embers of the game that paid off with a header from a well-worked corner deep in extra time, having the deficit by Shane Sinclair. But it wasn't enough, as Greater Lowell NPSL continues to roll with a 2-1 win. We started with the New York Cosmos, and there you saw the Brooklyn Italians with the big win. It's their second as they chase the Cosmos. In the Mid-Atlantic, Northern Virginia United gets a win in their first match as Giovanni Vasquez gets the club's first goal in NPSL play. Meanwhile, Westchester United and FC Motown stay unbeaten as they pace the Keystone Conference. And next week, our game of the week is a New England showdown between Boston City FC and Hartford City FC, and we'll have all of that action next week. Now, when we return on This Week in the NPSL, we go to the Midwest, where we see another of our new members for the first time on the show. FC Columbus against the leaders of the Great Lakes is next.
Passage is the official ticket provider of the NPSL and powers the league's dedicated ticketing platform. Support live local soccer by visiting tickets.npsl.com to find tickets to NPSL matches near you directly from NPSL teams.
Welcome back to Knoxville, Tennessee, where of course they are known for football, as in Tennessee Volunteer football. But their neighbors, Emerald Force SC, are making inroads in our kind of football. Now, as we shift to the Midwest, another team that plays in a college football mecca is FC Columbus, home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, the Buckeyes' biggest rival is the Michigan Wolverines, who play in Ann Arbor. Well, this week, FC Columbus took on AFC Ann Arbor. AFC Ann Arbor has been stingy at home, going almost 488 minutes without conceding a goal. The captain for AFC Ann Arbor, in the 12th minute, Jack Cawley, hits his free kick into the crossbar. A minute later, the ensuing scramble, Jordan Montoya converts a loose ball by volleying into the far corner from 20 yards past the Columbus FC keeper. Is Montoya's second goal this weekend. Later in the half, Mark Ibarra sends in a high cross that finds Montoya, who volleys into the crossbar from 12 yards out. Second half, after AFC captain Jack Cawley draws a yellow card for hauling down a full-throttle Columbus FC winger Kevin Blackwood, the Columbus defensive midfielder sent in a lovely ball that found a target in German center back Vladimir Bagau for the Columbus FC goal. AFC Ann Arbor keeper Mike Novotny got a good hand to it, but it wasn't enough, breaking that scoreless streak. But Michael Shakely sends in a free kick that is headed out only as far as AZ Liati. His shot deflects off the crossbar and finds Michigan Wolverine Mark Ibarra, who smashes home past the keeper from close range. AFC Ann Arbor wins it 2-1. Grand Rapids FC getting 2 goals from Scott Doney in their 5-0 win that puts them just behind AFC Ann Arbor and Detroit City FC. In the East, it's the Fort Pitt Regiment, now out to a 3-0 start, and the Erie Commodores at 4-0-1. And in the North, it is Minneapolis City SC getting 2 goals from Martin Brown Jr. as they move past VSLT FC in the North standings. Now when we come back, we will check in on the West and we'll check out our Player of the Week.
Keep up to date on NPSL with scores, schedules, stats, and exclusive content on NPSL.com. Visit NPSL.com to browse our dedicated ticket platform, read up on NPSL Spotlight, and view the latest episode of This Week in the NPSL.
ASC San Diego got 3 first-half goals in that win over Riverside Coros. They sit in second just behind FC Golden State in the Southwest Conference, and they play Oxnard Guerreros this weekend. Meanwhile, in the Golden Gate standings, El Farolito still sits on top after their 6-0 win last week. They play Sacramento this weekend. And in the Northwest, Spokane SC Shadow, after their 2-2 draw last week, are now in first, and they play second-place Kitsap Pumas in Spokane on Saturday. From the Pacific Northwest, we go all the way back across the country to news from where we started this show in South Florida, and it's our Player of the Week who comes from Boca Raton FC. It is Matias Areola, who had 4 goals in their win over Storm FC. The South Florida native played his college soccer at nearby Lynn University and played professionally in Brazil in 2016. Congratulations on the honor. And that's going to do it for This Week in the NPSL on the road in Knoxville, Tennessee. Next week, we are back in the studio, and we hope you'll join us for all of the best from coast to coast in This Week in the NPSL.